The State of the University event is an annual opportunity to share with our community the great progress we've made towards our vision of teaching greatness. I'm standing here in what is arguably our most tangible manifestation of that progress, our new School of Business building. The rise of this building on 109th Street shows just how far we can go if we share a vision and work together to make it a reality. Look around me. It's not hard to imagine a vibrant new building filled with students walking to their classes and meeting up with their friends. Before we know it, this building will be open and we will have space for an additional 7,500 students. This building is meeting Alberta's demographics. The province and Edmonton needs it. I hope you're ready. We're going to start off with a jam-packed presentation covering many of the great things we've accomplished. Then we'll spend some time reflecting together on our success, our challenges, and our way forward. Let's get started. Let me tell you about that video. There were so many things going on behind us. I just want to thank Jody and Stephen and a bunch of others. It was a riot to produce. And anyways, good afternoon. Welcome to MacEwan. I want to thank Knowledge Keeper Daphne Alexis for sharing a blessing with us today. She's reminded us to keep ourselves grounded in the traditions of this land and about the importance of connection. This year's State of the University address is unique because 2025 marks the midpoint of progress towards our strategic vision, Teaching Greatness 2030. And as you will see today, we are making great strides. Before we get into that, let's think back to when we were developing the Teaching Greatness vision. We were in the midst of the COVID pandemic, a time when there was fear and uncertainty about the future. An extraordinary time to be building a strategic vision focused on just that, the future of the institution. Maybe it was the perfect time. I don't know, consultation through Zoom, not so bad. We made it work. That challenging situation crystallized what we needed to focus on, what we could and couldn't lose, what the value of connectivity really meant. Our ability to adapt and innovate in unexpected situations was tested, although we do not like to use the word pivot anymore. We overcame challenges, we capitalized on opportunities to learn and grow, and most importantly, we did it together. All of this makes this year's theme of trendsetters and trendbreakers so timely. This is about those who innovate, create, and test boundaries. Today, we're celebrating our collective ability to explore new, uncharted ways of growing our university, supporting our students, and revitalizing our community. All of us, faculty and staff, students, community partners, business leaders, and government, have worked together not just to survive, but to thrive in this new environment. And MacEwan is indeed thriving. As many other institutions contract, reducing their footprint and offerings, and turn inward, MacEwan boldly continues to build, literally. The new School of Business is on track to open in winter 2027, just around the corner. This new building will create capacity for 7,500 more students at MacEwan, and they're not all going to arrive on the day the building opens. They're already starting to arrive. Adding to our student body supports our goal of expanding to meet the demand of Alberta's growing demographics. We're growing the talent to support business, industry, and communities across Edmonton and Alberta. At MacEwan, we're creating new exciting programs, and our strong reputation in the community is only getting stronger. Most importantly, we are relevant. I say that word a lot, when the value of a post-secondary education is being questioned. So what's our secret, our special sauce? It's our culture of innovation that drives success. We're curious, we ask why not, we experiment, we take risks. The work we do may be different, but we are focused on the same goals. Keep that in mind as I share the successes of the past year. I'm incredibly proud of what MacEwan community has accomplished, and I want you to feel proud of what you've done to support our university our students, the broader community, and truly the province. In 2023, we established measures and milestones aimed at keeping us aligned with our purpose and ensuring the success of teaching greatness. These milestones hold us accountable and provide insight into how each one of us contributes to the bigger picture. They also serve to ensure we focus on doing the essential things that make MacEwan great. So what are we here for? We're here to teach, inspire, and ignite curiosity. Seeing the growth and success of our students is why we do what we do. We take incredible pride in this responsibility, and it's critical that we focus on and ask how they feel about their experiences here. I'm proud that 83% of our graduating students are satisfied with their time at MacEwan, and 93% of alumni say they would recommend MacEwan to others. Both of these markers sit above our target of 80%. And this is one of those targets that's kind of like the oil light. It needs to stay steady. So consistent results in a rapidly changing world, that's no small feat. It speaks to how we ensure our relevance. So how are we staying relevant? We have a lot of faculty in the room, and I will say that our faculty actively seek out professional development opportunities that keep them current with new research and teaching. They are keeping abreast of rapid and significant changes, such as artificial intelligence and its impact on the classroom. We've worked to ensure that we offer the right supports to support our students. For example, we've diversified our mental health team so that we can better respond to multi-crisis situations where several issues are impacting a student's life and academic success. We've also launched the Community Nest program to help new students connect with peers, make friends, and develop strong support systems. Remember, many of the students that are arriving now had a really hard time in high school. And we're amazed at the sign up with this Community Nest program. In its first year, we had 452 students sign up, and this year even more. So just 12 years after rebranding ourselves as MacEwan University, I've witnessed our reputation as a leading undergraduate university steadily grow and continue to gain momentum. When I started my first term, I remember when I got here and some of the young people in my life said, MacEwan grads are everywhere. They're kind of ubiquitous. But still, I spent a lot of my time reminding people that MacEwan was here. Now people are coming to me asking how they can be involved in something we're doing. They feel the momentum and want to be part of it. I'm also hearing from more students who made MacEwan their first choice university. The word is out, we're offering what students and what industry are looking for. A faculty dedicated to teaching, who inspire our students, an education that encourages our students to explore their interests, find new passions, and apply their knowledge to improve their community. So we're growing. This fall, we're welcoming 5,300 new students to campus. Growth has been especially strong in business, a 30% increase. And with this momentum, we are well on our way of reaching our goal of 30,000 students by 2030. And 30,000 students is about 20,000 full load equivalents for those of you who like to count courses, and this is how the province tracks us. But a person is a person is a person, so I like to count people. We're bursting at the seams. I don't know if many of you walked here during a class change. Feels a little bit like a mall sometimes, but you might have noticed that new building is quickly taking shape, and it will alleviate some of the pressure we're already feeling when it opens. But there are other ways we're managing growth. We're using our space better. Here's another milestone to celebrate. We're doing an incredible job of smashing the calendar. What I mean by smashing the calendar is using our space more in spring and summer. So in just a few years, we've jumped from over 1,400 full-time equivalents in 2021 to over 1,700 in spring-summer 2025. This helps us manage enrollment growth and gives students the flexibility they need to achieve their goals. It means we're offering more courses during spring-summer. It means we're offering more sections. And it's clear that students like that. They're looking for options to take classes outside of the fall and winter terms, either to speed up their studies or to reduce their course load per term. And I applaud our faculties and schools for the ingenuity and speed in organizing their classes and academic schedules to make this growth happen. I've heard that the scheduler we have is a wizard. So imagine it's as complicated as an airport. Maybe not, maybe more so. So while our students need time in classrooms and labs, they're also eager to apply their learning in real-world settings. 95% of our programs offer a work-integrated learning component. So that's 12% ahead of our 2025 target and just 5% shy of our 2030 goal. And our aim is for every program to include a will option, a program where it makes sense. So for example, if we've got mid-career professionals coming back to learn something very intense in a couple of weeks with continuing ed, we won't give them a work-integrated learning component. They're already working. So it's no easy feat to actually make this happen. It takes a large commitment. We need to identify internships, field placements, course-based projects, co-ops, research collaborations, particularly when there's more students to serve and we're working with more partners. So I have great gratitude for those involved in identifying these opportunities and successfully integrating them into the full educational experience. The value of these experiences is immeasurable and not just for our students. For example, MacEwan alumnus Nafa Hadou is the owner of FireSafe AI, an Edmonton startup that uses AI and sensors to prevent, detect, and respond to wildfires. He saw the opportunity to collaborate with MacEwan students in chemistry, business, computer science, design, and marketing. He spent hundreds of hours, I exaggerate, over 100 hours, with our students to come up with several ideas to improve the company's bottom line and help them do more to address the challenges of wildfires. Win-win collaborations like this are at the heart of MacEwan's success. Supporting faculty and student research ensures our instructors can be leaders in their fields. This knowledge and expertise is then shared with our students. Research serves as a catalyst for solving problems and creating opportunities. From April 2024 to July 2025, MacEwan secured $3.3 million in external grants, higher than our $2.5 million target for 2025. It's true that research impact can sometimes be hard to see, but that's not the case here at MacEwan. We focus on questions that matter to industry and our communities. Just this week, I read about Dr. Sam Mugo and Dr. Mohamed El Morsi's work to make precision agriculture more accessible. So they developed a cost-effective sensor. I thought I read $10. We'll see what they price it when they actually sell it, right, Sam? That offers real-time insights into soil health and nutrient levels, empowering farmers to make informed decisions about fertilizer use. So what does that mean? Lower costs, higher crop yields, and a reduced environmental footprint. Dr. Karen Christensen Dalsgaard is examining how crop diversification would make Canada's agriculture sector more resilient and less susceptible to the effects of tariffs and changes to trade agreements. Another example is Story Walk, a project led by Dr. Oslam Kankaya and created in partnership with the City of Edmonton's Downtown Revitalization Strategy. This initiative helps young families feel more comfortable on campus. For youth who may never have imagined themselves attending university, that experience can open the door to new possibilities. Researchers from several universities, including MacEwan's own Dr. Gail Lowe, are looking at how anxiety and coping strategies were used by older adults during the pandemic. This team created a visual teaching tool for practitioners so they can better support older people with anxiety. We're also researching how to improve how students learn. Our newly opened Immersive Learning Institute is creating tools to help students become more competent in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics and nursing subjects, helping build students' confidence and skills. So exciting stuff and much more to come. We're thrilled to celebrate MacEwan's first ever SHIRK Partnership Grant, awarded to Dr. Emily Milne for her project on advancing educational equity in Alberta. And I'm excited to see the impact of her work. I spoke to her before we got in here, and she emphasized she feels really good. She feels really good about the impact that will come out of this work. And we've also formalized 3 new research groups at MacEwan focusing on Black community research and innovation, inclusive experiential learning, and Indigenous research. This year, we opened 2 new centers of excellence, the Immersive Learning Institute and the Research Institute for Urban Wellness, to join the ranks of our existing Center for Sexual and Gender Diversity and the Social Innovation Institute. Centers of excellence advance research and innovation in specific areas. These hubs mobilize talent and expertise to address key challenges and improve the quality of life for Canadians. We've deliberately pursued these initiatives because they dig deep into topics that are meaningful to our community, having healthy and safe neighborhoods that are inclusive and welcoming, promoting entrepreneurship that gives back to the community, using new technologies like artificial intelligence and virtual reality to connect people to art, culture, history, and science. Community-based research is an important way universities and communities work together to create opportunities to grow and evolve. This past May, MacEwan hosted the C2U Expo, Canada's premier community-based research conference. This was the first time the C2U Expo was held in Alberta in its history and was the largest to date, welcoming over 600 researchers, students, and community leaders from across Canada and around the world to showcase their strategies for addressing complex local and global challenges. I'm really grateful to all of the MacEwan organizers who came together with over 40 community partners and sponsors in order to make this conference so engaging and impactful. This served as an incredible opportunity for our students who were not only able to attend the conference, but also showcase their research. Learning how to do research is a valuable skill in any role. It's more than an academic skill, which is why we celebrate how many students have received paid research opportunities. In just a few years, we've more than doubled the number of research assistantships at MacEwan. This is one of the real advantages of an undergraduate university. In comprehensive institutions, students normally have to wait until graduate studies to be involved in research. But here at MacEwan, students can take advantage of that experience as they earn a bachelor's degree. There's another way our connections to the community are making a difference, one that resonates with me personally, which is responding to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's calls to action. Studies have shown that Indigenous youth are less likely to pursue higher education. The reasons why are complex and intertwined, but the benefits are clear. Higher education leads to increased employment rates and better standards of living. It contributes to overall economic growth and a more resilient economy for all. We believe it's critical for MacEwan to be a welcoming place for Indigenous students to take that next step in their education. Edmonton has Canada's second largest Indigenous population, and it's growing. We're also the closest urban centre to northern Indigenous communities. Part of celebrating our place in the Ward O'Damon is ensuring the people in our hallways reflect the diversity of our communities. I'm very proud of the work our people have done to connect with Indigenous communities. Innovative programs like the Indigenous Youth Rising Conference are working. We're also ensuring MacEwan is a place where people feel they belong and include Indigenous ways of knowing into our classes and programs. Many have come together to make this happen. The people at KU Watson, in the Academy, student support staff, and numerous elders, knowledge keepers, and community partners are dedicated to these initiatives. The impact of this work will be felt for generations to come. More broadly, access to an affordable university education is increasingly important as rising costs and youth unemployment are making it more difficult for young people to pursue higher education. At MacEwan, we believe that student funding is an important tool to reduce that gap. Since 2021, MacEwan has raised a total of $7.9 million in external funding for scholarships, awards, and bursaries. We know students are being hit hard when it comes to the cost of living. For students to succeed, we need to do more to help them address those challenges. Last year, we began to offer $5 pop-up lunches on campus in collaboration with the Italian Center, and cooking classes to help students gain confidence in making healthy, affordable meals. We also made a $100,000 donation to the SAMU Food Pantry, and our MacEwan staff held an impressively successful food drive in support. We're also thinking creatively about how we can support housing, accessibility, and affordability. We have a residence on campus, but instead of planning to build new ones, we're working with partners. We already have 2 partners who have secured housing for our students downtown at a discounted rate. Other highlights from last year include being named as one of Alberta's top 85 employers, a competition that evaluates employers based on specific criteria, including workplace benefits, training, and community involvement. And who could forget? Our Griffins Athletics celebrated their 50th anniversary, and we marked this milestone with a refreshed Griffins logo. This past year, we reached one of our highest fundraising achievements in history at over $6 million in 2025. I appreciate the support we're receiving as it signals confidence in our future. Affinity to MacEwan is also a sign of our relevance and responsiveness. We partner. We're very proud to sign memorandums of understanding with the Oilers Entertainment Group, the Alberta Motor Association, and Boyle Street Community Services as a means of formalizing important partnerships and working together to find ways to do more for our communities. We also like to convene people and have chunky conversations about interesting issues. So we've welcomed a number of thought leaders to inspire our students, faculty, staff, and community. This year's honorary doctorate recipients include Elder Bernie McCocus, former Chief Justice Beverly McLaughlin, and in the spring we hosted a futurist, Dr. James Canton, who spoke about AI and health. We've hosted business leaders like Angela Santiago, our current Allard Chair in Business, Little Potato Company, Dave Mowat, former CEO of ATB Financial, and just last week we had Del Wishiwan, CEO of Booster Juice, come and share his stories. This spring we've announced MacEwan alumni Scott Kashuba as the new chair of MacEwan University's Board of Governors, the very first alumni, that's the chair of the board. And we welcome Gary Marr as our second chancellor. Both of these gentlemen bring a great passion for education and will be phenomenal champions as we execute our teaching greatness vision. So what's next? After steady growth and support of the MacEwan Means Business campaign, including a $1.5 million contribution from Widener Apartment Homes, we'll be celebrating donations to the campaign from Chartered Professional Accountants Alberta and various accounting firms this fall. We're making solid progress towards our efforts to raise $25 million for the new School of Business building. We'll be celebrating milestones as the building continues to take shape. I understand some of you are already planning to move in there, so move-in day will be a big deal. I don't know how you're going to do that, Rich. I don't know how you're going to figure out who goes in what offices, but I'm glad that's not my decision. Anyway, so what else am I thinking about? I'm really excited about creating pathways that provide students a clear journey from high school to MacEwan to their future career. One of our current funding asks is funding to begin the planning phase for a hybrid STEM collegiate and a new School of Science building. So why do we need this? Well, we're bursting at the seams. The School of Business gets us to 2030, but I'm thinking beyond that for sure. This investment will address the skills gap by fostering industry partnerships between high school, post-secondary, and industry in STEM. Our main focus will be continuing the incredible work we're doing towards our teaching greatness vision. It would take me days to go through all the accomplishments we've made in just a few years. When you pause and look back, it's rather stunning. Our path is clear: being curious and open-minded, collaborating, taking risks, celebrating the impact of what we do. Our success lies in our ability to innovate. Like the construction of the new School of Business, we're on track and making great progress. People are excited to watch us grow and are greatly anticipating what comes next. So now on we go to 2030. So with that, I'm going to thank you for listening, And then I'm going to invite Catherine Owen, and we're going to have a bit of a conversation. And I believe it will be a conversation because I've known Catherine for a while, and I'm sure she will surprise me. And maybe I'll surprise some of you, but I promise I won't be announcing too many new initiatives. Just kidding. Anyways, please join me, Catherine, and we'll move over there. So thanks everybody for listening.
Thank you. It's an absolute pleasure to be in this room full of trendsetters and trend breakers, and particularly lovely to have a chat with you, Annette, about this extraordinary place that you're at the helm of. I thought you looked very fetching in your construction outfit, and I'm curious about the extraordinary momentum that MacEwan Means Business has. Other places in this country are scaling back, getting nervous, thinking about contraction, not expansion. How have you pulled off such a big thing in these times?
First off, I want to say that MacEwan has always been bold. If you think about our origins in a mall, and then all of a sudden we've got this incredible campus downtown. So jumping on that opportunity to do something on top of the railway yards, I think was a pretty bold thing. It's also really bold to move from a college to a university. That was a very, very bold step. So we've always been bold. But I say we have to be bold. We have no other choice. I know when I talk to some of my colleagues, they go, that's an ambitious growth agenda. And I go, well, we're not an institution that is going to say to community and to the province, we'll grow if. The need for growth is there. The need stems from our demographics. It's kind of like aging. For a little while, I was ADM of something that had to do with continuing care. The one thing you know for sure is everybody's a year older the next year. So, I mean, we can watch the wave coming through K-12. We know they're on their way here. So Alberta is young, Edmonton is young, and that's why, Edmonton talks about being young, educated, and growing. So the need for growth is there, the people are here, the demand is there from industry. So, how did we get the province of Alberta to say, yes, we'll give you $125 million towards a new big shiny building downtown? And, I used to be deputy of Treasury Board, so I've had familiarity on that other side. So how did we do it? And I'll say the best thing is we had laser focus. We had one ask. We were clear. We were tenacious. We made an incredible case. We could make an incredible case because we were located downtown. It was in the midst of a pandemic. The province saw how important bringing 20,000 people, not dollars, to the core of the city meant. It was easy for the politicians to see how this wasn't just a win for one constituency, it's a win for the region. 81% of our students are from Edmonton and the region. We serve the north. I'd like to have more students come down or back and forth from the north. So it was easy to make a compelling case, and we had everybody on board. So the board was on board. We created a campaign cabinet of leading business people. I'm looking at Sign Chatty. So right off the bat, the province said, oh, they have friends. The community and the private sector are behind them. Our alumni wrote incredible letters in support of the building. Our students, when they visited MLAs and ministers, were in support of the building. So it was that laser focus, one ask. And there's an element of timing. There's an element of luck. There are these strategic windows in government, and sometimes you can slide in. Sometimes you can just do everything right, and there's no window. Sometimes you can fluster it, and there's a window, but we did everything right, and there was a window. So I'm so grateful to so many people. It was an all-hands-on-deck team effort.
Fantastic. By the way, there will be an opportunity for audience questions. I've just got a few things that I'm curious about. You really did ignite my curiosity in your talk. One of the things you mentioned in your presentation is how vital community is to teaching greatness and to the MacEwan agenda. At the same time, I think the joy and challenge of being a leader is that everyone has an idea about how you should lead. There's no shortage of good advice. You must constantly be hearing people tell you what you could or should be doing. But tell me, if you would please, about a time when you heard someone talk about MacEwan in a way that really made you realize we are getting the point across. People are beginning to understand us in a new way.
Well, first I want to say that having a lot of bosses or a lot of people who care about the institution is a really good thing. So the fact that there are so many people in community that are passionate about MacEwan and want to give me advice on what to offer and what to do is I've learned to love it. But there are some days when it can be a bit of a challenge. And early days when I became a president, people asked me what the difference was between being a university president and a deputy minister. And I said, it's kind of like being both, except you don't have a party, you don't have a cabinet, you're not a member of cabinet, and no one actually works for you in a university. No, do you buy that? Anyways, universities are not as hierarchical as other institutions. But on that, at first when I got here, I would have these conversations with people and say, you know, MacEwan does research. And they go, what? You do research? Yeah, we do research. You know, a lot of your employees are from MacEwan. What, really? And alumni would dig up those numbers and go, holy, they're everywhere. And we've got VPs. So, I was reminding people we existed, and that's really shifted. So now, I hear from parents, they come and talk to me, well, I've got one adult child here and one adult child there, and this one's doing well, and this one's doing well. It's great that in the city of Edmonton, we have a research-intensive university. We have a teaching informed by research university. This child learns best in this environment. This child learns best. So parents volunteer. I hear from alumni, more and more alumni, where they say, I chose to come to MacEwan. It wasn't because I didn't get in. Like, it was my first choice. Or I went there first and then I came here. Like, this traffic back and forth is a good thing. And then I hear a lot from employers about how MacEwan graduates are really ready to work. And Gail Pauly from Aztec was one of the first who said, your business grads don't expect to run the company from day one. Like, they expect to contribute, learn a few things. They're more humble and they're more hands-on. And I hear stories about our nursing students as well, in terms of their readiness for work. And the way that story was first told to me was by our former board chair, who, everybody has experiences with the healthcare system, and she just noticed sort of the chatter in the hospital about MacEwan grads. So those are the kinds of stories I hear. And, little things like the sense of pride. You can go to LinkedIn and you can look at where people say they were educated. And at one point when we were a transfer university, that didn't show up as often on the LinkedIn profiles. Now it's really starting to show up, Anyway.
I want to drill down a little bit into that notion of first or second choice. I think there was a time when people thought of MacEwan afterwards. That's not the case anymore. It's completely different. How did you make it completely different?
Well, that completely different just takes time. And it just takes time, and it just takes stories. So, again, Alberta has a wonderful post-secondary ecosystem. And I like to tell people we have best in kind and all kinds. And so Edmonton is incredibly fortunate that 10% of its population is in post-secondary. We have U of A, we have Norquest, we have NAIT, we have MacEwan. So over time, more of our students are enrolled in degrees, but we haven't thrown away the diplomas and certificates. So our students can come, enter into a 4-year nursing degree. They can choose to leave after 2 years, Christy, and go work as an LPN. So we're thoughtful. Students can come, they can leave. Most of our students take degrees. We're not chasing master's degrees and PhDs. We're developing new curriculum. I don't know if Dean Perlow was here, but I'm blown away by all the advancements in the School of Business, for example. So, we stay current. So it just takes a little time. and success stories. People pay attention to data, but they pay attention to stories more. And as long as the stories don't seem like totally anecdotal and by accident, it starts to register with them.
No stories without data, no data without stories. Yeah, exactly. They go together. You've talked about laser focus, not just in relation to your one ask of government of late, but it sounds like focus is a big part of your success story.
Teaching greatness really resonated across the university. And that double entendre, we value teaching. We have great teachers. We have students who go on and do great things, and just be great at whatever you do. So it's that nice blend of not overly elite, but still striving for excellence.
There's a place for everyone.
Yeah.
I'm going to switch to talking about AI for a moment because it's on everyone's minds and, frankly, it's in everyone's pockets these days. How, in your view, is AI going to fit into the future of MacEwan?
Well, we've got a few experts here. So we have a Center of Teaching and Learning that puts a lot of effort into working with faculty to help them figure out how to embrace the tools. Our General Faculties Council has developed some guidance documents. So to cut to the chase, AI is here. We need to figure out how we use AI to enhance what we do, but not to substitute what we do. And I know in talking to some community members, I had a mother who's an accountant who said, I'd like to convince my son to still study accounting, but he's worried that accounting will be replaced by AI. So we have to have these conversations around the need for those durable human skills and the value they add. There are a lot of jobs that people do that are not that interesting. So if we can just figure it out how to embrace it rather than run away from it. I mean, some things about AI are a bit intimidating. I think everybody in the room is aware that perhaps the technology is a little ahead of the frameworks we have for using that. So bottom line is intentional and strategic, and it's everywhere already. I know we have a lot of creatives teaching here. We have a lot of students in creative fields, and some of them are running with it, some of them are avoiding it, and we'll see.
I had an enchanting chat with a jazz musician, pianist, in the elevator as I was coming here today, second-year student, who's got big plans for her future. What would you say to her about the place of AI in her life, potentially?
I think people will crave what she's able to create.
Yeah. More so than what any machine might be able to.
I think so. Just listen to the difference. But I want to go back to the fear of the loss of entry-level jobs. I know we have some industry leaders here. I don't know why you need 10 years experience to walk in the door. Anyway, I think our students that have these work-integrated learning opportunities, it's a bit of an opportunity to leapfrog many things. So, if one of our professors takes a whole class to your business to help you solve a problem, you're going to spot some people that you want to pull into your business. So I think we need to rethink some of these jobs, and I want to have these conversations with industry so they're more willing to offer young people an opportunity to hit the ground running. And I get to see what young people are capable of doing, and I just want to remind employers of that.
It's tackling even the tricky things with that same signature boldness that is MacEwan. I know you, I've known you for a long time. You don't rest on your laurels. You seem to be incapable of that. You never think you've done enough. This place is growing, it's making an impact, but there are also challenges in our community. High unemployment, particularly for youth, downtown safety issues still abound, financial insecurities that you mentioned in your address. What's next? What are you planning as a university that will help address some of these larger societal issues?
Well, there are many people in the room that have relationships with community and are interested in finding out what their research questions are and bringing the talent available in our institution to some of those problems. So I like to say we're in the mix. So we have these relationships, we have these connections. So there are so many things I want to still do. And I've talked a little bit about partnering and work-integrated learning. So we help our students think about life past MacEwan, although we do want to keep them attached through our Alumni Advisory Council. So I want to kind of think the other way and work more with K-12 and create that pull. And I think we're well positioned to do that. I mentioned that we were seeking funding to explore hybrid STEM collegiate and science building. And I think we can do more outreach. And Eric Newell is here from Careers Next Generation. So, you know, I think part of it is when you go talk to educators in the K-12 system, they say, you know, we want our students to be connected like your students are to the world of work younger. And we can't build those connections. So how about we partner with you and build on your connections? So I think there's a lot we could do there. When the new School of Business building opens, I really see that as an innovation hub. It will house classrooms, it will house the School of Business faculty office, but it will also have our research office, it will have careers, it'll be a real animated place. So part of what I want to do is make sure that that's just bustling with activity from day one. I want to work more closely with the K-12 system, and we couldn't execute any of this without people who are bold. So I'm particularly interested in culture. What about MacEwan's culture allows us to be so bold? What about MacEwan's culture means, you know, we're easy to approach, we can actually solve things that for other institutions with more structures seem impossible.
Last couple of questions from me before we go to the room. Laser focus seems to be something that you in particular are very good at. For the rest of your second term, what are you laser focused on? I'm
going to say culture, because you know, second term, I'm more comfortable with my team, and I've got to empower my team. Provost Craig Monk, incredible champion for teaching greatness. I'll be honest with you, I was so delighted that I had a provost that would let me use words like smashing the calendar. He's such a good sport. Right? So, and Lara is such a community builder, and Maureen is such an efficient administrator. So I'm really going to focus on capacity building, connecting outside. I mean, we're on this trajectory with fundraising. I'm excited about the K-12. I'm excited about School of Business. And I get really excited about new offerings and working to respond to the needs of community. So I'm out there talking to not-for-profits, and they say, you know, MacEwan used to offer a lot of training to help us with governance. We can't afford ICD. And I know I've got a lot of ICD directors in the room. They go, like, we don't know, like, we're at ground zero. So within 6 months, like, we've got a program. We hear from a real estate developer that, you know, he needs more residential managers, and that most of his workforce are single moms that get a break on their rent, but the game has gotten more complicated, so he wants to offer them a path forward to a more lucrative salary and something that's transferable. So we get to work on that. So I get excited about a lot of things, and so that's one of the challenges. If I can't get, I'm a bit of a hunter. Like, every day I talk to somebody and I bring back this idea. And part of what the provost and Maureen and Lara helped me do is, okay, what can we actually do? Because I am aware of all of the work that went into all of those accomplishments that I talked about before we sat down. So we're pushing real hard. And MacEwan can do what it does because our faculty are so dedicated to teaching. And our faculty teach a lot of courses, and they have to find the time to do the research that inspires them in the service. So our workload distribution is a little bit different than the intense research institutions, and I'm grateful at how our faculty and staff go above and beyond.
Fabulous. What's the best part of any day as a president?
You know, I was interviewed the first month I was here, and this young recent graduate of MacEwan, he wrote this little story, and he kind of made fun of me, but it was cute, because I can take a joke. He says, oh, she told this quaint little story, but do you guys remember Pac-Man? Mm-hmm. And there's all these things coming at you, and I go, well, you know, every day there's a power pill. Like, there's something on campus that gives me immense joy. So how many roles in leadership do you have where you have that incredibly clear line of sight, where you can see the impact of what you do right in front of you? And I know that we have a lot of students, and I walk the halls. I swear, as I walk the halls, I can tell if it's a new student or a student who was here last year. I'm not saying I know their names. I probably know 100 names. I don't know 15,000, 20,000 names, but you see change. And you get to stay in touch, and you get to hear their stories. And our alumni stories are absolutely phenomenal. So there's that candy pill that I get to experience. And anyways, I'm grateful for that.
Fantastic. It's now time to hear from the audience, because I know you've probably got questions on your minds as well. So that everyone can hear your question, a mic is going to come to you. And you don't need to take it in your hand. Someone will stay with you and hold it for you. So no wrestling for the mic, please. If you'd like to tell us who you are as you ask your question, that would be great for Annette, as she learns thousands more names.
Yeah.
And so that we can get to as many of your questions as possible in the time that we have. We've got about 12 minutes or so. It would be great if you could keep them succinct and on topic, if you wouldn't mind. So, who's going to be bold and ask us our first question, please? Great. Thank you, Trudy. I think the mic's coming. There we go. And you don't need to take it. There you go.
I can listen. I'm Trudy Callahan, and I publish Edify magazine. And a year or so ago, Dr. Trimbee, you were named one of 6 who inspire by the magazine. I'm curious, who or what inspires you?
Great question.
I'm a sucker for the underdog. You know, those movies that make you cry because somebody who wasn't supposed to succeed does this amazing thing. So, yeah, I'm inspired by the underdog. So I have a particularly soft spot for first-generation students coming to MacEwan and kind of watching them, their work, their effort.
It's a very different experience for someone who doesn't have a family legacy of going to university. Yeah, much less familiar environment. Go ahead, Eric. Thank you. Mike's on its way to you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Trimbee, first of all, I want to applaud MacEwan for your emphasis on work-integrated learning, and you and I have shared a lot in how we can make the workplace an extension of the classroom, which I believe in. But and so I applaud you not only for your emphasis on that, but you actually measure it. You know, you're targeting to get 100% of the students with meaningful work-integrated learning, and I'm a great believer in what gets measured gets done, and very few post-secondary educations, I know a lot of them, actually measure that. So that's a comment I would like to make. Also, you know, the whole concept of career pathways that anticipate the future, and I'm one who believes universities have got to lead. So you have this target, 100% of the students are going to be work-integrated learning, and I know you are thinking of ways and have done some interesting stuff, how we can anticipate what the role of technology is. How are you going to ensure, and who are your key stakeholders in moving this whole initiative forward to get not only the 100% work integrated learning, but high quality?
obviously, we need to partner with industry and business, and we need to partner with other partners who partner with industry and business. So careers, you already have all those networks. Like, we don't have to invent them from scratch. I also want to note that, every once in a while, you hear this narrative that post-secondaries aren't responding to the needs of the province or the needs of labor. And I go, well, we need to know what skills are in demand, but we also shape demand. So we're more than order takers. And so every once in a while, there's this thought that, somebody should sort of lay it all out, and you need 5 of these and 10 of those and 20 of these. And, I think we have to, not be so precise and be ready for some surprises. But every faculty, every school has their way of connecting with their field. One of the things that I didn't mention, but if you think about arts, culture, music, think of the Fringe, think of Folk Fest, think of everything, like MacEwan is ubiquitous. It's everywhere. So our faculty are really, really connected. And we have to figure out on occasion how to formalize those connections and how to leverage and get, synergy more than the sum of the parts. So we actively find those partners. We nurture those partnerships. Partnerships need to be reciprocal. It's not just what can we get from you. There has to be some quid pro quo. So it's complex.
I was interested in your response, because I think the critics of work-integrated learning might say, oh, you're just creating cogs for industry. But you used cultural examples too.
No, but even that cogs for industry, remember John Stackhouse, RBC, he publishes all these thought leadership things. And I remember, an old one, he said, are your students ready for the world of disruption? Are they ready for technology? And I was kind of bothered, because I thought, where do you think those disruptions come from? And, if we situate young people in your office, in your work environment, they have a lot of ideas from day one, right? So there's kind of a leapfrogging that goes with that. So those students placed are already moving the bar.
Reciprocity of learning together. That's great. I know we've got lots of staff here. Would anybody from the staff like to ask a question? Anyone else? Yes, go ahead, please. Taylor's making his way over.
Hi, I'm Heather Fitzsimmons-Frey. I teach Arts and Cultural Management in the Faculty of Fine Arts and Communications. And I've been enjoying listening to you respond to some of the questions. One of the things you responded was that you felt like you were going to be lightning focused on culture. I'd love you to tell me what you're thinking one dimension of culture might mean in the upcoming 5 years.
Well, I'm speaking to somebody who runs arts and cultural management, so I'm feeling. And the one thing I've learned from Provost is language matters. So our board had a conversation with Ozone Group, which is a group that helps boards with governance. And all boards are regularly looking for ways to improve their governance. And they talked about how institutions can have a variety of types of cultures. They use the word results-oriented, achievement, innovation, people first, customers first, which we don't talk about customers because students aren't customers. It's a transformative experience. Yes, they pay, but it's different than just coming and buying something. So I don't know if we're all on the same page. I see us as an innovative culture. I want to understand, how it feels in a variety of roles to come forward with a new idea for how to do something different, because my line of sight suggests we're doing a lot of things different, but I suspect that there's even more we could do different. So I just want to place that, is aware of the decisions being made, because sometimes not making a decision is a decision. The board makes some decisions, GFC makes some decisions, I make some decisions, you make some decisions. A university is a sum of all of its decisions. People are pretty empowered, they have a lot of agency. We need to assess risks, but we also need to take chances. I don't hear a lot. I never hear when I throw out an idea, been there, done that, tried that, it failed. I don't hear that at MacEwan. Instead, I hear, well, maybe there's a different solution. What's your problem? Which is healthy. So I want an experimentation mindset. Universities pump out these people that are incredibly innovative, and the rest of the world looks at us and says, but you're not very innovative inside. And they go, well, look, you wear gowns at convocation. I go, that's just ceremony. Really, we're very innovative. Oh, well, you're still writing on chalkboards. So I think, are there ways to be a little more innovative outside as we are more innovative inside as we are more innovative outside? But I need to talk to you because, like I said, I'm making up what I think culture is. But culture is how, in my mind, how people relate to one another and their sense of agency and their willingness to take risks in full understanding of those risks. And I'm looking at the chair of audit and risk and wondering what he's thinking. But
And I would imagine, I'm no culture expert either, but I would imagine it's also about what it feels like to be here.
I want it to feel good. I want people to want to come to work. I want people to feel good about their purpose. I know people are motivated if they have a sense of purpose, they have a sense of mastery, and they have a sense of autonomy. I think that's Daniel Pink. Somebody sent me his book a long time ago. But we have a clear purpose. You can see it. From a mastery perspective, what we do is amazing. Although I say we're not a country, we're not a state or anything, but we have an amazing breadth of scope of responsibilities. And I think people are pretty empowered. And I say that's relative. I know there's some of you that have jobs where you go, I am not empowered, I have to follow the rules. But I want you to challenge the rules. I've learned that I'm one of those people who likes to follow rules if I make them.
We've got time for a couple more questions. Anything on your minds? Or a comment, too. Doesn't have to be framed as a question. Am I seeing people? I see a hand. Robert, hello.
My name is Robert Rosen. I'm a past scholar of residence here and chaired a number of boards. We are living in a global marketplace. Immigration is becoming very complicated in many countries. How are you preparing these students to look globally for opportunities beyond Alberta, Canada, whether it be in Mexico or Germany or wherever in the world or the Middle East? How are you helping them extend their vision to realize they have to stretch beyond the Canadian and North American market to have their best opportunities? Thank you.
That's an excellent question, and I know we probably have some faculty members from the School of Business that would love to jump on that one. What I will say is MacEwan's international office has traditionally focused on finding opportunities for our students to experience other countries, less so to have international students come here. So right now we only have about 5% international. We have aspirations to grow by 10%. So I think the challenge that you've just shared has to happen in a whole variety of ways, in a whole variety of classrooms. One way that I think will accelerate the conversation is we have a new chancellor, Chancellor Gary Marr. He's the CEO of Canada West. And I want to have some of those conversations. And I know Robert well, and we talk a lot about the importance of understanding, like seeing beyond Edmonton. Right? That's part of what you go to university for, to see things you wouldn't have seen in high school, you wouldn't have seen at home, to discover things, discover new passions. So we need to help our students understand the geopolitics, the economies of the world, and opportunities for the future. So no silver bullet, but we can't do it by ourselves. We have to bring in business leaders. When I was Deputy of Advanced Ed and Technology, we had a lot of programs to help businesses thrive. And I thought we shouldn't really help any businesses unless they had ambition beyond just spinning in the local economy. Anyway, one thing I didn't talk about, maybe it's not quite related to that, but I would like to do more to get our innovations out And I'm not just talking about commercializing widgets, I'm talking about social innovation, all of the things that we learn about here to get them more into practice. So that's something I want to think about as well. And that does relate, I think, also to being mindful of the world outside our door. We can get pretty insular. I think we're more porous than a lot of other schools.
We're at the close. I'm casting my eyes around for a last comment. Vivian, can you make it a short and sweet one? Absolutely. Microphone's coming so everyone can hear you. Thanks, Taylor. Last comment.
Yes, short and sweet. Thank you for your comments, Annette. And I'm really curious to see how is the university breaking down the silos of faculties. You know, we talk about the project of the 21st century or maybe the 22nd century as being integration, and that, you know, we've gone beyond having, you know, faculties of business and faculties of fine arts and faculties of literature and English, and we have to cross-pollinate. I'm curious how MacEwan is embarking on that piece of innovation, because it strikes me as very opportune.
There are some that would argue we should just get rid of those organizational structures, and universities are pretty field-based. I will say MacEwan, because of its physical structure, the 7 city blocks, the interdisciplinarity that allows, the way we design our programs, and the provost can talk about majors and minors. It's a lot easier for a business student to also take something in music, a music student to also take something in business. But what you're really getting at is fundamentally how we design offerings. So something to think about. Hi over there. That got their interest. Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, that's the question, Vivian. You know, yeah.
Thank you. And thank you, Annette, for being willing to have a chat rather than just speak from the podium, which was also very interesting. It's clear, I think, to everybody in the room that this is a bold, focused, relationship-based university with its eye on innovation, its eye on integration, and very much its eye on the future. I think we can all be grateful that you are at the helm of a place that is teaching greatness to and for the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you.